Okay, you should be live on YouTube and Facebook.
Hello! We are here today with my special guests. Are you guys special? You're special. Okay, let me find myself on Facebook.
See you on Facebook.
We are here today. I am. Yes. Okay.
And you're on YouTube too.
Woo! Oh, there we are. See? There we are. Yay! All right, guys. Okay. So, let me mute myself here.
Hey, we have 2 viewers.
Kelly and Joanne and Michael Kellum joined me. Hello, Michael Kellum.
Oh, so I joined you? Oh, sure enough. Oh, I need to switch to living on a dime, don't I?
Okay, so today I have a special guest. My aunt and uncle from Oregon came to visit briefly. They are headed down to see my grandmother who lives in southeastern Colorado. Mm-hmm. And so they stayed a couple of nights with us. And we got to talking at the kitchen table. And I was like, well, this is pretty cool. I think my viewers would love this. So we are talking today because they have 12 children. Yes, you heard that right. They have 12, and they are still living to talk about it. Mm-hmm. And so some of their tips, we were talking because a lot of people get in the, it has to be done this way. We have to sit at the table every night for dinner if we're going to have a healthy family that talks to each other after they leave home. We have to all do the laundry a certain way. We have to all do groceries a certain way. And you guys do a few things unconventionally, especially for a large family. You don't hear large families talk about some of the things that you guys do. So I wanted to talk to you about it today. So do we have everybody on YouTube now, Mike? Are we there? Okay. So we're going to get started. So this is my Aunt Marie and my Uncle Brad. How long have you guys been married?
38 years.
Woo! Yeah. 38 years.
38 years.
And how many kids?
12 kids.
How many grandkids?
Oh, and 17 kids counting the spouses.
Well, that's true. Yes, and some of them are married. Mm-hmm. And how many grandkids?
15, 14. 14 or 15.
14 and 15's on the way. Yeah, 15's on the way.
Angelia says you look like your aunt.
Oh, do I?
Cool.
Do we look like twins? Let's see. I don't know. So I do look like my dad's side of the family. Her sister, my other aunt, I look like a dead ringer for a twin. It's kind of scary looking in the mirror sometime. Everybody says it's nice to meet you.
The Amish Marine's wife says they're way too young looking to be your aunt and uncle.
See?
All the gray hair, really young looking.
Well, you're only, 10 years older than me, I think. Something like that.
Wait, how old are you?
45.
Oh, yeah, I'm only 10 years older than you.
She's only 10 years older than me. So, yeah.
Where's your gray hair?
I know. Well, Clairol and I are good friends.
Sophie wants to know what part of Oregon.
So they're in the northwest portion of Oregon. So here's the thing. We were talking today, and we got to talking about laundry and groceries and all that kind of thing. And you guys just had some really good information. So let's start with groceries, because I did a video, how long was it? 4 or 5 days ago on gleaning and how this one family in North Carolina gleans food. Mm-hmm. And that's one way you save on groceries. So tell me about your gleaning experiences. How did you find the gleaning places, and what did you do with your produce when you found it? Because it was mostly produce, right?
There's boxed and canned things too.
Oh, really? Oh,
but,
okay.
Yeah.
We're part of an organization. We joined a group that kind of sets it all up, and they find the places, and they coordinate a group of people together, and they'll go out and pick, and then they'll distribute food together. They also get donations, and they'll go around and get things that aren't used, then go to like a pig farmer when and if it's not usable at all, but they gather, and so we're just part of this larger network, I guess, that kind of coordinates it and and we don't coordinate it, but we're part of it. We go out and
we have coordinated picks to
before,
some people's fruit trees.
But people's fruit trees in their backyard. They've got 2 plum trees, and it's a little old lady, and she wants someone to come pick them because she can't. They're going to waste, and that's it's. and so we'll go pick it, and then distribute the fruit. The fruit goes into the group, and then it is distributed on Saturdays, Saturday mornings.
So then everybody gets a
afternoons.
portion of
Everybody
it.
gets whatever they, yeah.
And then does everybody have to pick a portion? Or do you have to like pick a certain amount of hours or a certain amount of fruit or?
No, they just.
It's pretty low key, yeah.
Yeah,
They let you
really
take what
low-key.
you kind of
Just
need.
take what you
They'll
can
let you, if you want
use.
to pick, they'll let you take half of what you pick if you want to take that much, and then the rest gets donated and distributed at that point. But it's this distribution is just one day. They load all the tables with whatever they have. You come through the line, and people just take what they need.
Oh, cool.
So yeah.
And the other thing they take, they get donations from stores of things that are almost
Close to
out
date,
of date. Yeah,
stuff, or
close to
almost
date.
nearly out of date stuff. So they get stuff that's getting close to expirations, and they'll donate that rather than throw it out, And then so.
See, we don't have that here in Colorado. I wish we did because I would be there every week.
Yeah, we
And the thing is, guys, expiration dates, we've had people talk about this. There's sell by date, there's expiration date, and there's best by date.
Right.
And they
Yes.
are not
Not
the
the
same.
same,
Sell by date means that's the day the store has to sell it, or they can't sell it any longer because the food is good 3 to 4 days. Usually it's meat. 3 to 4 days after that, you can at least use it if you don't freeze it. So you can keep it in your refrigerator at least that amount. Expiration date is when the food really is not good. So like meat, would be, let's say the sell by date would be September 10th. The expiration date would be September 14th or something like that. That's when you kind of have to be careful. And best by means, usually that's canned goods. That's when it tastes the best, but it doesn't necessarily mean it's spoiled.
Right.
It just kind of loses a little bit of flavor. And canned goods last years. People think that 2-year date, but I have canned goods that I've used that have been 10 years old and perfectly fine. I found stuff in the back of the pantry. So that's the kind of stuff that you guys get for canned goods, right?
Yeah, right.
They're getting, okay.
Yeah.
Now, what do you do with this fruit? Do you guys eat it all? Do you can it? Do you freeze it?
We either freeze it or eat it.
Yeah.
Freeze it or eat it?
We're not
Okay.
canning much.
Yeah, we don't.
Can very little.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Canning's
Canning.
hard, and
We've made some jams and canned some pears, but it's just
Yeah.
been very
we
small.
take the easy route.
Yeah.
Throw it in the freezer.
So Amelia's on. Hello, Amelia. She said, hi, parents.
Hello.
So
Jennifer's
Amelia.
on too, did I tell you?
Oh, Jennifer is?
Jennifer's
Hello,
on.
Jennifer. That's our cousin. So Amelia is the oldest girl of the kids. And I personally know a few of the girls. I don't know the boys so well because they're younger, they're quite a bit younger than me. But your kids have actually grown up to be very stable, productive members of society.
About that.
Amazing.
Isn't that what a concept? People think that when you have a big family that you're a bunch of crazies, but you're really pretty normal,
think so?
Well, that's debatable some days, but
Almost relative.
Almost relative. And you guys used all these tips and tricks, and the kids are they're very respectful. They pay their own bills. They're married. They have their own kids. And it really works. It does. Everybody thinks you have to give kids everything. This is my point of all this is they think you have to give kids everything, and you don't. If you make them work for it, it really builds in that self-confidence and work ethic and those kinds of things that really help as an
I think
adult.
the quickest way to ruin a kid, I think, is to give them everything they want. I mean, it's like,
Exactly.
You're not gonna.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. So let's talk about, since we're kind of like that, what kind of things do you give your kids? So do you pay for all their cell phones, their car insurance, their cars, all that kind of stuff? Or how does that work?
They buy their own cars, and they buy their own insurance and gas, and we do pay for their cell phones.
You pay for their cell phones. Okay.
For the kids at home, and
Kids at
beyond,
home.
and in college usually, college age.
Yeah,
And then once they're married,
that's it.
yeah, that's it.
It's been
That's
cut.
somebody else's
Yeah,
problem.
that's
Or
true.
bill, anyway.
Yeah, that's true.
We always figure for safety reasons, it's good to be. It's the nice thing about a cell phone is you're always in communication. If you have an emergency, you've got the ability to get help, and it's like
Yeah.
so
That's if they answer their phones.
That's, from a dad's point of view, that's pretty important for me
So
to
are
have
you-
my girls out on the road. I'd kind of like to know that they can call
Yeah.
me if they need help.
Yeah.
So are you buying them a $1,000 iPhone?
No.
Oh, yeah, you know it.
Or are you getting
We have
them?
a couple of, the two youngest kids have the very basic, talk and text, and they're really wishing they had a little better phone,
Yeah.
but they don't.
Well,
And
very good.
We're
they've
not
had
getting
phones for
we're not
about a
getting
year.
a lot of
so-
data. We're not doing, we're not
we
online
try to
much,
hold the data down.
We're not. Some of the girls are.
Then if they go over line, do they reimburse you then, or how does that
Well,
work?
That's-
yeah.
Yeah,
That's the
that would
plan.
be the idea.
Yeah. That's
We
fine.
might have to send out a bill. He'll be here before long.
There's a bill on your bed. Okay, now we were talking about laundry and saving water and that kind of thing. So I kind of have two routes that I'm going with this. You guys actually have set up a really cool system to help with flushing toilets and stuff. You've set up a rain catchment system
Right.
because in Portland, I guess water is super expensive.
Oh yeah,
And you said you had a bill that was
$700 for 3 months.
$700 for 3 months.
Yeah, we get billed quarterly, so we get 4 bills a year, once a quarter, and the highest was 700. It's usually between 500 and 600. It was at one point, and then we
Wow.
made some changes.
So you put up this rain catchment system, and these are called, let me make sure I have the right name. They're IBC totes is what they are. That's it, right? Okay.
Yep,
And
like a shipping
it's,
container,
it's
exactly. That's
this thing right here. Can you guys see that? I didn't have time for Mike to put a picture up. Can you see that thing?
Oh my.
So Uncle Brad, you hooked up how many of these under your house?
We have 13 under the house. We're blessed with a large, deep crawl space. It's a 6-foot crawl space under the house. It's almost a basement, and it's set room for these to go. And I got them lined up, and I've got 13 of them plumbed together to catch water. And they're about 250 to 265 gallons each one, so we can get several thousand gallons of water collected
Wow.
from fall through spring.
Wow. So you told me July, August.
We usually run out the first
June,
part
July,
of July. It's
Okay.
always with the first week or 10 days of July. We're out of water, and then
Yeah.
we don't start getting it until the rains. Usually sometime in September.
Okay.
Give us some. So we're out.
And you went from $700 every 3 months down to $65.
Well, the lowest was 65. We're usually around
Yeah.
100
Yeah,
plus or
down to
minus.
100.
Yeah, we've had a
but still.
$75 bill, a $65 bill, and this month it'll be more, or this next bill will
We're
be
in the
more
summer
because
months, yeah.
we're
Yeah.
using the city water.
Wow.
So
So
that's a
that
big
really.
change, yeah.
So how many hours did it take you to set up this system?
Oh man.
Well, let's see. We kind of did it in stages. I didn't start with that many totes, but we got them from a dairy that was in the area, and they get something that they use in the milk
Oh. okay.
production industry, flocculent, I guess is something they do when they process. So they're pretty clean to begin with. The chemical was pretty innocuous. It wasn't.
Yeah, they're
anything
already
that
used
was-
for food
it
and
was,
stuff.
you know,
Yeah.
And so we would get them for we'd go just pick them up. So as we collected them, we added to the network and our capacity.
Yeah.
But it's very easy to plumb them together, and I rerouted the gutters to flow into the basement and into the tops of these containers and out the bottom. I plumbed in a pump and little pressure tank. It's you get them at Home Depot or Lowe's, just a 7.5 gallon pressure tank with a pump on it, and it pumps and then I tapped into the lines, put a backflow, and tapped into the lines for the toilets and the washing machine. So we wash our clothes and we flush our toilets with rainwater, but we don't
Wow.
drink it or we don't drink it or
Yeah.
bathe in it. So
Yeah, but those things that you don't need completely fresh
Yes,
water
right.
for is really, that's a really good idea. Now, oh shoot, it just went out. Oh, how do you filter out like the asphalt? Like sometimes asphalt little pieces come off of your shingles.
Yeah.
How do you?
Well, a
do
lot of it will
that?
settle into the bottom of the totes, and then
Okay.
and then it comes off as we go. And I put a filter in line as it comes from the gutters. There's a filter between the gutters and the totes, and then there's a filter between the pump and the plumbing systems.
Okay.
And there's even a screen where it starts to go from the gutter down the downspout. There's a screen that catches
The screen
a lot
that catches the
of
big stuff, the leaves and
fir
needles
needles
and
and
debris
Okay.
from the gutters. Yeah, the big debris. Yeah, so
Did you know Elly was on?
Yeah.
works
She
pretty
just
good.
now says she joined.
Yeah. No. Yeah, I saw him. It was on there. So that's a huge saving. I mean, you're talking a couple $1,000s a year.
Yeah, yep, so
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
definitely worth, and
Yeah.
that would probably take somebody a weekend or 2 or 3 if you don't know what you're doing, but probably if you had any kind of how-to stuff, a weekend or 2.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
We're having a couple of requests for people that are just joining for you to reshare what's going on today.
Okay, so today, if you didn't see in the description, we always put in the description what's going on if you guys come in later. But my aunt and uncle, this is Anne Marie and Uncle Brad, they are from Oregon, and they're visiting me yesterday and today. And they have 12 kids. And I'm talking about some of the ways that they save and how they do things a little bit differently sometimes, So that's what we're talking about today. And we were just talking about how they do rain catchment to help save on water, because that's a lot of people and a lot of water. Even our water bill is pretty high. Now, one thing, we were talking about chores. So first of all, let me answer a question here. I got it. Oh, who was it? Was it Cindy? I lost it. Oh no, Christy. What age did your kids get cell phones? When they drive?
Just,
The last 2 got them when they were 16 and 14.
Okay.
Yeah.
So is there a certain parameter you set, like when they start a certain activity or when they drive, or?
Well, typically we have a 5 cell phone plan. So when the oldest ones graduate off the cell phone and one becomes available, it goes to the next kid in line.
Okay.
So that's how we've done it in the last several years.
Except with the plan up to 8 cell phones now.
Is it now?
Yeah,
Oh,
now
I
we
didn't
have 8
know.
on it.
She's
So
our
now
cell
you've got
phone
8.
guru.
But don't tell them that so they don't know.
Great, you just spilled the beans.
Oh, that's funny. And so Annette wants to know, what do you do with your gray water when? So
It
when
goes. The gray water is that we use in the toilets go down the toilet. The washer goes into the drain, exactly
yeah,
like we
okay.
would drain.
So you don't.
I don't do anything yet
Okay.
with it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we don't reuse gray water.
We do well. The only gray water we use is our bathtub water. We bucket it
that's
into
true.
the washing machine and wash clothes.
That's true.
To
Okay.
augment the rainwater.
So what you do is you take
First
your
load.
bath water, put it in the washing machine,
Yeah.
and then you
Get
rinse.
a load started, and then it uses that. It may have to add to it to fill up the tub to fill up your washing machine, and then it rinses on our water supply. Whatever.
Yeah.
It happens to be.
Well, there you go. Now you did say before you got tapped in, you did have a hose running.
Yeah, we did.
Now that would be a
Everything, the plans evolved over time. So
Yeah.
we had 50-gallon garbage can buckets or whatever they were outside, catching rainwater off of a part of the gutter that wasn't plumbed in, and we had a little pond pump,
Yeah.
little sump pump pumping it through the garden hose, through the front door, through the window in the front house, across the living room floor into the washing machine. So,
This was the trial to
It was to
see
see
if we
would
thought
like
it
to
would
do that,
work to
yeah.
use
So how
rainwater
long
to
did you
wash
do that?
for the
clothes.
washing machine. So
Um,
about almost a year.
no.
You don't think it was that long?
Oh, I don't know.
Seems like
a
it.
few months to a year. So
Until
whatever.
winter froze the buckets.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I don't think we could have done it for a year. I don't know. A few months we did
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
So how do you guys?
Did you
Oh
already,
yeah.
Did you already talk about the age range of the kids?
Oh, I didn't. What are the age ranges of your kids?
13 to 36.
13 to
Okay.
36.
Yes.
Yeah.
And we're not all home anymore. Yeah.
No, they're not all.
Yeah.
So how many do you have left at home?
4.
4 left at home.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
4 youngest. Yeah.
And let's see, we were talking about chores. How did you guys do chores with that many kids and that much laundry and dishes and everything? How do you set up chores? How do you do chores? Do the
Chores-
kids do the chores?
Chores are always an evolving process because you set up a system and sometimes it's not being followed through. So then we have to figure out if we need to revamp the system or completely get rid of that system and start a new one or whatever. But yeah.
So
So initially we assigned jobs to individuals, and they would, be responsible to make sure on a daily basis. There were chores you did daily, chores you did weekly, and inevitably somebody would complain that his job was harder than his job, and her job was, and we had to. So we would have to have the big meetings and get together and reassign or redistribute or come up with a better plan. And we even made lists. Okay, so pick a job. We're going to make a list of all these jobs, and you get to draft your job positioning. So it's been through several generations, and then we if it doesn't work, we get together, and it seems like this last 2 months, it's been every 4 or 5 days we get together and say, okay, now what? Why isn't it working? Who's not doing their job? And why? What's the problem? And we listen to the input, and I'm real bad at this. She's a very good listener, and I just want to tell them.
You do this.
I try. It's very therapeutic for me just to be quiet and listen and watch her run her meeting, because I tend to shut down conversation a lot. So.
There you go.
Yeah.
So that's kind of what we do. So like, Emily hated cleaning the toilet. I mean, she just despised it. So then it kind of got to the point where she'd tell David, okay, David, do you want to clean the shower and I'll clean you clean the toilet and I'll clean the shower for you, because David doesn't like doing the shower.
Yeah.
So then they started trading. I'm like, well, I don't care. If
long
they
as it
think
gets
it's a
done.
fair
Yeah.
trade, to me, you know, the nastiness of the toilet is a fair trade with the bigness of the shower. So
Yeah.
I guess if they want to do that. So yeah, it is always evolving. Even for us, chores are...
Well, we've even
We
had
have a
older
system,
kids
but-
bribe younger kids with money.
Well, there you
Which is, if they have the money and they want, it's like it's a private transaction. As long as the work gets done, it really doesn't matter.
You just want to find a clean
You want
fork.
to buy your brother off? Go ahead.
That's pretty good. So the next thing we were talking about, which was get-togethers. How do you? So you guys actually get together a lot
Yeah,
for
we
that
do.
big of a family,
do.
because you have 30 between the 12 kids and spouses now. You have 35 people, I think we figured,
Yeah.
between the grandkids and the kids. So you were talking about some get-togethers and things that you do, like your field day and all that. So what do you do for that?
Field day. One of our kids, our third son or our third child and his wife, they decided they wanted to have an annual field day, so they
They
host
set it
this
up. They do all
field
the
day.
planning, organizing, get it all set up, and we all get together.
So yeah, they have all different kinds of. There's some pretty competitive races, and then there's some silly races, and grandkids get involved, and
Yeah.
So do you
old
rent a
people
park, or?
and little, right down to little kids. We take over a school. We kind of just squat. We go in.
well, we go on Saturdays, so
Saturday
there's
morning,
no
yeah,
school's
it's-
not being used, so
So you
know,
just find
we
a school.
Occasional
on
joggers will come
Saturday.
through and jog around, and we share the space. We don't keep anybody out, but we we kind of do our business and have our competitions, and
Yeah,
Oh,
it's
cool.
their neighborhood school. There, two of their
Yeah.
girls go there, and so we just use their property, and I mean, other people are there running the track or doing whatever, and eyeing us because we're quite a spectacle. But
You are.
especially in the
That's
old
funny.
lady race, they get a real kick out of me participating. But I don't know, that might have been my last year. It took me a week to quit being sore this year.
You're going to be on the sidelines
Either
cheering.
that or I'm
huh?
just going to have to not put out my all the next
Oh.
time.
Oh, no.
To do a little jog instead of a
A full
dead
out.
run. I was running fast.
Yeah.
I maybe didn't win, but I was running
gave it the
fast.
best.
Gave
I
a gallant
it my
last.
all.
She came in.
Yeah.
That's funny. So how do you guys do? So you guys said that you guys just have get-togethers every now and then. So you'll just go over to one kid's house and have like a
Yeah.
barbecue or something, or
The people, they might get a wild hair to go play volleyball, so they just go play some volleyball games, and then go back home. Or we do get together for almost everything, to 4th of July and Labor Day, and
Camping
Yeah.
trip.
yeah, we'd go camping at least once a summer. And
Yeah.
it'd be nice if we did it more, but we just, I don't know.
hard to get everybody.
It's hard. Well, it's hard to find
Schedules, yeah.
a date that everybody can do it. So
Well, yeah, especially when you're coordinating that many
All
people
the
and
same,
works
yeah.
and all
Yeah.
that. So what do
Yeah.
you do for Christmas? How do you do Christmas with that many kids and in-laws and everything? How do you guys do that?
we have every other Christmas, and then on the off.
Oops, excuse
off
me just a
years-
second.
Oh.
Abby said to tell you goodbye.
Oh,
Hi, Abby.
Bye, Abby. Sorry, go
Oh.
ahead. She had to leave.
oh, is that our Abby?
Yep, you're
Oh,
Abby.
okay.
Your Abby said she had to go back to work.
Oh, okay. Must have been on a break.
Yeah.
Okay, so we have Christmas every other year, and then on those on the years that we don't have Christmas, we have Thanksgiving. So that gives the married kids a chance to trade back and forth with in-laws, and have the other one at the in-laws. So works really well. I mean, it's great.
So you did say something interesting though. So they said we were talking about presents. And how long does it take you guys to open presents on Christmas?
It might have taken 3 or 4 hours for us to open presents last Christmas.
It was too long.
We got to figure out a new.
Kind of got worn out.
A new
kids
way.
were like tired of kids on Christmas tired of the presents.
Yeah,
Can we just be done?
I mean, all the grandkids are, running. Just have decided they're going to run play with each other or with their new stuff.
We're going to have to address how we do that.
Yeah, we definitely
break
have
it up
to
over more than
change
one
it.
day or more than one sitting or something.
Yeah, that's a long. 4 hours is a long time.
Yeah.
I mean, really, it is. And what we do is we open a few. We have the kids open their presents, and then we eat We have a buffet, so we eat. And then we go to church, and then we come back and the adults open their presents. So that kind of breaks it up a little bit.
That.
And, it's not so much. So Susie wants to know, did you have all 12 children together, or are you a combined family?
No.
All together, one at a time.
Yeah. No twins.
No twins.
Nope. No triplets.
Would have been wonderful to have twins, but we didn't.
Yeah.
One at a time.
That's funny. Let's see, what else were we talking about? There was, I had something that I was thinking about for Christmas that we were talking about. So this is kind of not on Christmas, but it popped into my head. So have the kids, the older kids, because you live in actually a fairly small house.
Yeah.
Your house is only what?
About 1,400 square feet.
Yeah.
1,400 square feet.
3 bedrooms, 2 baths.
Okay, so it's not huge.
Yeah.
I honestly, that's the size of our upstairs, and I can't imagine having, 7 more.
5 people.
We're overwhelmed with 5. I can't imagine having. So did you have a boys' room and a girls' room?
Boys' room, girls' room, mom and dad's room. Yeah.
Well,
There you go. And then did the babies sleep with you, or
Yeah.
did they go in with the?
In the same bed,
Yeah.
We didn't do
Yeah.
bunk beds. We didn't do cribs or sleepers. We just
In the same bed. And,
family bed for a while until they got annoying.
yeah. You wanted to get some sleep. Huh?
they were old enough to kick. We moved them out.
There you go. So did you have, I assume, bunk beds? Lining the
Actually, they're on the
walls, or-
wall. They fold up to the wall, so they. And bunk beds in the girls' room eventually, and then we ended up. Yeah, so we've had wall. Yeah, whatever.
Yeah, the
they are.
wall
Like a
beds
Murphy type
actually
bed
will
without-
Kind of, but they just
fold
fold up to the
down
wall.
and
Yeah,
fold
they
back
don't
up. Although
incorporate into the wall, but they just kind of.
we
they never fold
discovered
up.
that you
Yeah.
never fold them up because
They're
that's
always
too much
down.
trouble.
They're-
It's like
they're hanging
always
on the wall.
pulling out
They
the-
got chains hanging into the front end and hinges, but they're always
Yeah.
down. Yeah. And the
Yeah.
boys, they have 4 in the boys' room, and
Yeah, that makes
Well,
sense.
it's-
It's like having a hide a bed, and if
Yeah.
you're going to use it all the time, you wouldn't.
Just leave it out.
You'd
Yeah.
want to leave it out.
I'm here. I got
So
you.
crowded space was a way of life. I think they would, they adapt really good to dorm life in college because it's like, look at all this room I have. I only have to share it with one person.
There you go.
So
go
Mary
ahead.
was asking if you had the children at home or in the hospital.
Oh, funny. No, never had any kids at home.
Oh,
We had
hospital.
them at the hospital.
Yeah.
One was only 20 minutes after we got to the hospital.
Oh
but-
wow.
Hey, that
We
was
made it
way
every
better.
time.
That was way better than the daughter-in-law who ended up having the granddaughter in the 7-Eleven parking lot.
No,
They
really?
didn't quite. The hospital was around the corner, but they didn't quite make it.
Oh no, not even around the corner.
Not
Huh?
even-
Yeah.
When they're ready to come, they're ready to come. Oh
Yeah.
man. So for let's see, Jean and a couple other people. So my aunt. This is my aunt and uncle. It's my dad's sister. They're from Oregon visiting me. They are in their mid-50s, and they have 12 kids. And we're just kind of talking about having a really large family on one income. You've always done one income.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
You're a landscaper, and you have never worked, right?
Not really.
Not-
I mean, I had a couple of random little part-time jobs. Like when we had 3 kids. I think when the 3rd child was born, and I was dragging a baby around and delivering papers, I changed my mind and decided that was enough of that.
That was a little too much, huh?
Mm-hmm.
And you guys, what was it? Shoot, it went right out of my head. We were talking about one income and then the 12 kids. Did the kids have jobs when they got older?
They,
Different
yeah.
ones. A lot of the late ones did. Yeah, they've always kind of
most
had
of them
something.
have.
Yeah.
Is that something that you guys required, or did they just want to?
No, they wanted to.
They
We have 3 teenage boys right now, and they all 3 have a job.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They
Did
all
you
worked. They all worked for me for at least a year. I decided that everything else was easier.
Yep, pretty much.
Yeah,
That's funny.
Yeah, long days and sweaty days. It's a very effective motivational tool
Motivation to go to college.
to go to
too.
college, get a better job.
Yeah, there you go.
So
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Do you guys? They're wanting to know. Do you guys go to public school, Christian school, homeschool, no
Okay.
school?
Okay.
Some of both. Yeah, some of all.
Yeah. Our youngest goes to public school because she has Down syndrome, and that's really about the only choice for her.
Yeah.
The other kids have all gone to Christian school, I think.
Homeschool beginning.
Yeah,
We
homeschool
started
first.
homeschooling.
Yeah.
It's most most of them have had a period of time where they were homeschooled in the early years, especially,
Yeah.
and then moved them into.
Yeah, everybody had at least a year of homeschooling at one time or another.
Now they're in a hybrid. The ones that are in school are in a hybrid, 3 days in class and 2 days homeschool. So it's a
Oh.
they go Monday, Wednesday, Friday to school. They get 2 days of work, and they come home on Tuesday and Thursdays and work at home. So it's
I think we're gonna move by you guys.
So yeah,
I
and
keep
it's a
telling
Christian
you.
school. Yeah.
That sounds pretty good to me. Yeah, because really, when you think about it, do they really need to go every single day? I mean, I don't
Yeah.
really think they need
They get their
to.
assignments, and they get 2 days worth of assignments, and they'll stay home Tuesday, and then Wednesday they'll turn in everything they got done, and the teacher
There you
teaches
go.
her lessons, and they get their
Huh.
assignments.
And
again.
like the four of our granddaughters are in the same school because it is K through 12,
Okay.
and their parents really have to work with them on Tuesdays and Thursdays to make sure they're doing their homework. They're
younger. Yeah.
But by the time they get to be junior high or definitely high school, they're pretty much working on their own and
Yeah.
working toward how they do.
So
in
homeschooling,
college,
other than
so.
grading some papers, you have to do some grading.
Sometimes,
there's
yeah.
very little that we have to do because
Yeah.
they're pretty independent.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
Now, you told me one time you didn't like homeschooling because of all the paperwork and keeping track and everything. Is that why you stopped homeschooling, or?
No, mostly I stopped because I was doing a really horrible job. My kids weren't learning a whole lot.
Thank you for being honest. Because you see all these homeschool moms, and you see the Duggars and all these other people, and you're like, all the kids are sitting around the table. And if it was us, David and Jack would be whacking each other on the head with the
Yeah.
pen.
Yeah. No, we had.
Oh, Amelia says my kids go to that school too, and we love it.
Yes, that's true.
Yeah.
They do love the school. And one of the things about that schedule is I feel like when you get in high school, you start thinking especially by spring break, it's like, I'm ready for summer. And maybe they are to some extent, but you don't feel like there's as much burnout because they've got a little variety, I mean, because really when they come home on Monday, they can go to work if they're scheduled to work, or they can come home and work on their homework and get some of it done, and if they really want to sleep in the next morning, there's no reason they can't, as long as they know that they can get all their homework done that day before they go back on Wednesday.
But they're responsible for their schedule, and they get some freedom and some independence, and it just fosters, I think, life skills that they need later on. So
And you guys are pretty relaxed. As
Yeah.
far
not
as
too much.
as far as parents go, I mean, you pretty much, like we were talking about sleeping with your kids.
Mm-hmm.
So do they have a set bedtime where they have to be in bed by 8:30 or 9 or whatever? How do you guys do that?
Not when they're older. I mean, they just pretty much. I mean, if they stayed up really late and are tired the next day, I might mention that was probably because of what they did last night. But I mean, they're
So-
teenagers. They
We
catch
don't-
up on their sleep.
We don't enforce the.
Yeah, we don't care. We don't.
bedtime.
Yeah. Do you guys have a curfew for the teenagers?
Yeah. You gotta be home by 10. Yeah.
By 10. Yeah, that's what we do.
Yeah.
It's 10. And they're never happy with it. And I'm like, oh well.
Yeah.
Let's see, what was the other, did you have any questions? Oh.
One person was asking, I forgot who it was, if they use the Dining on a Dime cookbook.
Do you use the Dining on a Dime
Susie
cookbook?
asked, do they use the Dining on a
Oh,
Dime
funny.
So
Some.
I will tell you a funny thing. When I gave my aunts the cookbook,
Mm-hmm.
we were all three of them, this was before Aunt Charlotte died, this was all three of them were at a family reunion or something. So I signed the cookbook for all three aunts. And I wrote, to my favorite aunt, love Tara Jean. So they all caught on. They all read each other's book and they were like, what? I thought that was pretty
I already
funny.
know that I'm your favorite aunt, though,
Thank
so
you.
it's okay.
See, you know the truth. So somebody asked, what religion are you?
Christian.
Just
Baptist.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you're just regular evangelical Christian.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, I don't think I asked this. I had it in my head, but maybe if I asked it and you answered it, sorry. Have the older kids, we were talking about your smaller house and stuff like that, have the older kids now said, was there anything that they just really didn't like or that really bothered them with growing up in such a big family and being, you guys are basically tightwads like us. You're very good at saving money and squeezing a dime, till it screams. But have the older kids ever said anything about not liking it or?
I think I've heard that I was probably too critical and not as encouraging as I should be.
As far as parenting style, but that doesn't
Yeah.
have to do with the size of the house.
Yeah.
Not to do with the size of the house.
That's
but
just mostly your style of parenting.
Yeah.
But my kids would say that about me too.
Yeah.
So it must be genetic.
I'm the good parent.
Yeah, that's us. Mike's always the good cop. I'm the bad cop.
I told the principal that the other day.
Yeah, when Mike went in to talk to the principal the other day, he said, "You better be glad my wife is 2,000 miles away."
That's the bad cop interpretation of the way I said it.
See, I know. So nobody ever.
It never. No, they've all grew up. And they were so close. The little ones. I think the older ones felt the responsibility to be an example for their younger siblings because they know they were being watched, and so I don't know. They like to get together and do things, and they're always planning something. They're going over. Independent of we'll be sitting home, and the other kids are like cell phone texting each other and getting together. Let's go run over to Zeph's, or we're gonna run over to Zeke's. We're gonna get together and spend the night with Abby and Adelaide, and they just do things together. They're just really close as a family, which is cool.
That's good. Yeah.
Somebody said I don't know. You shared it with me. I don't know who shared it with you that the greatest gift we give our kids is each other. Because when they have each other, they've grown up that close like that, and it's like. That's cool to see as parents because you're not gonna be here forever, and they're that they're so into each other is really.
And they don't
special.
live in. I mean, they're not horribly far away, but they don't live in the same town either. You were saying.
No, all suburb areas, all
within a
20,
half
25
hour,
minutes.
probably.
Yeah. So some of them are a little bit further, but that's pretty cool that they get together. And actually make that effort.
And I wonder if it isn't partly because they were really in close proximity. I mean, you just had to get along and be close. In a small house, and it wasn't. I don't know. It just became a way of life. It was normal to them.
I think that's what one thing Mike's hee-hawing over. Somebody said something over here, so we'll get to it. But I think that's one thing people don't realize when your kids just have that as a lifestyle. It's really good for them. I mean, like for me, we didn't have any money, and there were things that bothered me. I'm not going to say it didn't bother me all the time. I was a typical kid, but I didn't feel like I was abused or like I was just totally left out of, things because I couldn't do or, we didn't want to do these kinds of things. So I think as a lifestyle, kids usually are more, how do I say, resilient? You know, people think they're going to hurt their kids by doing these
Mm.
things, and you really don't. So what are you laughing at over there?
Well, after you were talking about being the bad cop, Denise said if you were there, you'd probably be hitting the principal's desk.
So I'm always saying, get it together, people. This isn't rocket science. So I'm sure they're right. I probably would.
Oh, I didn't hear what you were talking about, but Tori says that kind of schooling sounds amazing. I used to have a lot of burnout by April. I love your channel.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I know when we were in the homeschool part, we were amazed that Elly was doing 3 hours of school a day and did 2 years of school in 1 year.
Yeah.
And I was
Oh,
thinking,
yeah.
What are they doing?
Yeah.
There's so much wasted time.
Yeah,
There's so much
back-
wasted time in a classroom. You're standing in line and you're sitting down. And you're listening. I mean, it's just the actual. Yeah, the fact that you can do a day's worth of schoolwork in 3 hours, and do. We had a son that did the same thing. Was because of our homeschooling lackadaisical approach. He was,
Bad
behind. So
teacher.
we got the computer programs, and he raced through 3 years of school, and because he could do it, and it was, when you're, he caught up. We put him in high school at the Christian school, and he was fine. He did fine. He did get good grades.
Oh, yeah,
He's an
no.
engineer today, and he's,
No, he's
He's
the
an
one,
engineer now?
He's gone the furthest.
Yeah, he got his
and-
master's.
and he got his master's,
So,
and I think
but
we've only had 2 kids.
he had to
get
do
their
5th,
masters.
6th, and 7th grade, or 6th, 7th, and 8th. I don't remember which it was.
Yeah, no, he did like 6th, 7th, and 8th grade all in one
All in
year.
1 year. Yeah.
And I think what really motivated him was that his next brother up said something about Hitler and some of the.
He said, "Who's he?"
And he's like, "Who's that?" and then he.
It really felt like he didn't know anything about anything, and that motivated him. That he said, "I'm stupid. I can't believe I don't know anything."
Yeah,
So he buckled down and he just flew
he
through
buckled
it.
down.
Yeah.
And
But it was all computer. It was all. What was the name of it? What was the?
I was going to say, somebody asked, do you know what the curriculum was?
Yeah, what
Oh,
was it?
I think-
She does.
Was it Sunlight or?
Schoolhouse.
Oh yeah, it was switched on Schoolhouse.
Oh, switched on
was.
school.
Yeah.
See, we
It
looked
was.
at that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Michael says hi to all of you.
Hello, Michael. Hey, congratulations on
Yeah.
the wedding there,
Yep,
cousin of
congrats.
mine. Sylvia wants to know how many boys and how many girls.
6 and 6.
Oh, did you?
Mhm.
I didn't realize it was divided. Oh, cool. Good grief.
Yeah, it
Shows how
wasn't-
much I
It
know.
wasn't 6 and then 6. It was.
So Toby wants to know: is the school that does 3 days and 2 days there, or
3 and
3
2,
at
yeah.
school.
3
2
at
home.
school, 2 at home? Is it public, charter, or Christian?
It's Christian.
It's Christian.
Christian. Okay.
Mhm.
Yeah. And let's see. Did you have any over there, Mike? The questions that were left.
Somebody asked, what kinds of punishment do you use with the kids? Do you,
Okay.
So, like, if the kids, don't do their homework or don't do their chores, what kind of,
We were spankers
30 years
and
ago.
when they were
yeah,
when the first kids were little. Oops,
we spanked more than
That's
we ended up doing.
My kids will laugh because my alarms are always going off on my phone.
So our older kids think we're a little bit soft on the younger kids.
Yeah, they
Mine
actually
do
do.
too.
And we do it differently. We don't.
Yeah,
we
it's
don't.
different.
We don't get as. We don't get as angry about things. We don't get as But so we take away privileges, or there's consequences to your actions. And it's like if you,
Yeah.
don't complete your task or you don't do what you're supposed to do, then these are the consequences. And
So so this is the one thing parents always have a hard time, and it may be hard thinking off the top of your head, but what are good consequences? So, like, if the kid doesn't get a chore done, what would a consequence
they
be?
don't get to go anywhere. They have to stay home.
Do they have to stay
The other kids are
home?
getting together to play volleyball. You don't get to play volleyball. If the other kids are getting together with their friends and they're going to go to do something that you don't get to go until you're caught up on what you didn't get finished. Or
We
something.
might not always be good at enforcing that, though.
That's our plan.
That's the plan.
Yeah. So what if they're not?
But it usually
home for
doesn't. We don't
curfew?
have a lot of. I mean, we have some issues with chores not getting done. So we have a Saturday. We catch them all up. We spend
Okay.
3 or 4 hours and we and then we have the meeting. How did we get here? How did we get here? We have to waste a Saturday catching up on the chores that should have been done all through the week.
Yeah, actually, the meeting is the punishment.
It is. They go 2.5 hours. It's just, everybody has to have a say and a rebuttal and a defense and no rebuttal, and it's just. They just
our
go
state
on.
talk,
Actually, I think it might be more punishment for him.
It's
than
me.
anything.
It's me that gets punished.
I know. Well, that's why my mom's always saying, be careful your punishment because you're the one who's being punished along with the
Yeah.
kids. And it's true. When you take the computer away and they're sitting on the couch, you're the the one that's like.
When you say you're not leaving the table until you're done eating, it means you're going to stay there all night.
Means you have to sit there and.
We never care what they eat when they're hungry. I figure God takes care of that,
Yeah.
because it's called hunger, and you get hunger pains. If you get enough pain in your stomach, you're gonna eat, So
Yeah.
I never worry about that they're gonna eat or not eat, It's like that's.
And they get hungry for the things that probably the vitamins that they're missing. They crave
Yeah.
it. So I don't know.
We never had a problem with picky eaters. We've never had a problem
Really?
with people finishing. Yeah, we just don't have.
I
an
can
issue with
remember
that.
one a long time
See,
ago.
we
But
need to get some advice.
I was gonna say, give me your advice for picky eaters.
Ariel's on too. She says switched on.
oh, our
Schoolhouse.
picky eater.
Switched on school.
So this is how many of your kids have checked in so far? 4 and a cousin?
4 and 3 cousins.
Nice.
Sharon, my uncle is a landscaper, and they have lived on one income for all those years. Pretty much, Aunt Marie did a little bit of odd jobs, just a little bit at the beginning, and then
Very
after baby number 3, you were like, "That's enough.
Yeah.
I'm tired. I gotta take care of kids."
Seemed crazy to drag this newborn baby out to.
Yeah,
To deliver
Do-
papers,
do
to
that,
paper boxes.
yeah, I totally get it.
Sorry. So was it Toby? Toby asked the school that does 3 days school and 2 days home. She's asking, is it a charter school or public school?
Oh
or
yeah, I
what?
answered.
You
Yeah,
answered that
Yeah,
It's a
we
Christian
did that.
school,
it's a
yeah.
Christian.
Christian,
Yeah,
sorry.
it's a Christian. So at this school, do they do like computer programs for homework, or is it like books, or
they
like
have- yeah.
paces, or?
They'll do both. They'll have textbooks, but they also have assignments that they'll need a computer access.
They'll
to
just look up
research
things on the
stuff.
website, but they have pretty much books for their.
And it's nice that they have their account at the school and they can go check and make sure what their homework is, what their assignments are.
Oh,
if they,
yeah.
So they
Oh,
check
that's
in
good.
that way. They have communication with the school and teachers about what's expected. This is what you got to have done by Wednesday or Friday, or
Yeah.
so they keep track of it that way with their.
So Jeannie asks, do you like to cook? And do you have some favorite recipes?
Not really. I don't really enjoy cooking. He probably cooks
I could.
more than I do, and he's a
Jack.
fly-by.
Yeah.
Don't go by a recipe. Just cook. He likes
Yeah.
to cook.
But
I
you
know, what do we?
said,
What do we have in the fridge, and what can I make with it?
yeah,
Yeah.
that's the way I am.
Yeah.
That's everybody thinks that I have this great menu plan. It's like, no, I fill up my pantry and my refrigerator,
And then you cook.
and
until
then I
it's gone.
cook from that.
Yeah.
And like now, I brought home probably $150 worth of leftovers from a church potluck thing yesterday. Guess what we're having for dinner?
Yeah. there you go.
Ah,
We're having chicken
Wonderful.
tacos.
Problem I have
So
with,
yummy.
with, with recipes is there's always something in the recipe that you don't have, or you're out
Yeah.
of, or you don't. And it's just so
Yeah.
I gave up on recipes.
But you guys said your kids started cooking young.
Oh yeah.
Did they just do that
And
on their
doing their
own?
laundry young.
Really? How young were they where they started cooking?
7, 8 or
Probably
7.
7. Yeah.
And did
7
they
years
just
old.
start that themselves, or?
Kind of.
I think the
because
last
they're
ones
looking
did.
at
They
the
just
next
followed in.
kid
They just
going,
followed in
hey,
the
I
steps
wanna
of the other
cook,
ones.
so,
And
you know.
it's like, wow, he's doing it. He's standing at the stove and he's turning it on and he's got his. We just kind of watched. And,
Yeah,
But
make
the other
sure
ones,
nobody
they've
got
always. I really don't know when it started.
Yeah,
They
make
just
sure the
started
stove's
cooking.
off.
Yeah.
So they get their favorites. They'll toast a cheese sandwich, or they'll fry an egg, or they'll make hash browns. Cut the potatoes and do the things. It's mostly skillet stuff.
Yeah. So do
Yeah.
you have a big family dinner every night? Do you
No.
sit down?
Not anymore.
No, not
Yeah.
not now that we have 3 teenage boys, because we never know when they're going to be there, or whether
Yeah.
they've eaten, or whether the one that works at the sandwich
They get
shop is
hungry
bringing his own
They get
food
hungry at all out
home.
hours, and when they're hungry and you're a teenager and you're fairly independent and know how to cook, they just do it. They eat when they're hungry.
Yeah.
And it's
And that's kind of what we're doing now. Emily's gone, but when she was here, we had the 3 teenagers, 4 with Dave, but the 3 that were working and going to school. We never knew when they were going to be home. And then BJ was a pizza delivery guy. Well, if they had a bad pizza, he would just bring home a pizza and he would eat that.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, it just kind of depends on
we kind of
who's
devolved
home
into
and-
that. We used to
Yeah.
be around the table, and it's devolved into less and less table time
Yeah.
and more independent.
Yeah.
So
Which you feel
it's
kind
a-
of guilty about, because the table time's supposed to be good, but
But your
But,
kids are
um,
all talking to you, and
Yeah.
they're all productive members of society, so I don't think
They
it hurt
survive.
them too
How about
bad.
that? They
Yeah.
got these great life skills. I mean, they know how to cook, and they know how to do their laundry, and they know how to
Yeah.
manage their time.
Landscape.
Landscape.
His mom has a phrase. She says that I gave my kids a good dose of
Good,
love
healthy dose,
and
yeah.
a good healthy dose of neglect.
Yeah.
Neglect breeds independence.
Yeah, that's true. I think a lot. Oh man, we're almost done. But
We don't have to stop.
that drives me crazy when people just micromanage
Yeah.
every single thing in their kids'
That's
life.
gonna make the kids totally riddled with anxiety when they grow up.
Yeah.
If you micromanage them.
And I mean,
If you're OCD parent, your kids are gonna be anxiety ridden.
I know these moms, they micromanage everything. And I mean, their kids don't do anything. They don't do the laundry. They don't do cooking. They don't even try. And, you can't do that. So, anyway, so Jeannie wants to know, your accent is different. Are you from Canada? No, you're
Portland,
not.
no,
Fine.
Portland, Oregon.
Yeah,
so,
he grew up in Portland. So, yes, Mike, did you have a question?
Oh, we just had a
Hey.
few. I don't know if you
Yay.
want. I don't want to put everybody
Portland,
on the
eh?
spot, but Jamie was wondering. Yeah, Portland. Jamie was asking if you'd be willing to say how much you spend on groceries. And this is.
That'd be
by the way,
wonderful if
Jamie's
we knew.
family is-
If you what now?
Oh yeah, Mike told me everybody's sick, Jamie. I'm sorry. Facebook me after you're done. So you guys said you don't really know how much you spend on groceries. You
It
just
isn't
kind
much.
of
We don't put a lot of time at the grocery store. It's we get milk and it's
Yeah.
most of the stuff we get Saturday afternoon at Gleaners, and we do with that until we absolutely have to have something else.
And you did say you shop at Winco and
Winco
grocery
is-
outlets.
grocery outlets.
Yeah, those are really good.
Yeah.
I've never
Grabbing the
been to
good
Winco.
buys.
Yeah,
Yeah.
get the good cheap stuff while you're there. So Cheryl wants to know, what do you guys do for Christmas presents? Do you buy a present for every single kid and grandkid, or how do you?
Last year was the first year that we did something, or 2 years ago, I guess, almost, that we did something completely different, and we gave everybody a train ride. And we went up to
Oh.
Mount Hood Railway, and we all rode the train.
Oh,
We don't.
cool.
We
So,
never
but-
spend a lot of
Yeah.
money on stuff. I made some stuff and made walking sticks and different craft things and boxes, one of your wooden, things that if we don't get around to, that we'll buy a little something. But it's always been, it's always been pretty
But
inexpensive.
you don't always make things.
No,
either.
I don't.
That
no,
sounds
just a
like.
couple, no.
Yeah,
no.
but yeah.
But occasionally,
Occasionally.
you'll do something. And
Like today, we bought
Some Christmas
up at
gifts.
Rocky Mountain
Yeah.
National Park. We
Yeah.
Bought some things.
some rocks for we can tell because our grandkids aren't listening. We bought some pretty rock for each of our grandkids because some of them are rock collectors because
Yeah.
they think rocks are pretty just
rocks
like
are
their
pretty
grandpa
and they're
does.
cheap.
yeah.
Yeah.
Rocks are cheap.
Yeah, rocks are
I got some in the backyard you can take home too. I got soap. Oh, I should send soap home with you guys too. There you go.
We're gonna talk about
There
that.
you go. Yeah. He wants to buy some.
Some soap?
Yeah,
Oh
for
yeah,
Christmas
holler.
presents. Yep.
Yes.
I don't know if this
Not
came
for
up,
everyone.
but North Dakota Pig was asking if Aunt Marie sews and if you sew their clothes.
Oh.
And also, somebody else asked if you like quilting. That's Jill.
Jill.
No.
Oh, yeah.
No,
yeah.
Mom likes
Jill
quilting.
Yeah, right.
So
no, that
did you
sounds
sew
like
all
Jill.
your kids' clothes?
Oh yeah, no.
Did you sew
No,
one of your?
I didn't
No.
Have you
sew
sewn any clothes?
anything. I'm lucky if I mend something.
Yeah. Yeah, the seamstress string did not come down that
But you know,
side.
it's
No,
yeah.
it didn't.
No, I didn't get it.
Most of our clothes,
Oh, we buy them at
second
thrift
hand,
stores.
yeah, we buy
yeah.
Value
or,
Village.
or get hand-me. For
Union
years
Gospel
we got
Mission store. I mean,
hand-me-downs.
it's like I go through clothes at Lansing. I get them filthy. I get them dirty. I rip them, and it's like I don't spend money on them.
Yeah.
It's-
Yeah.
yeah.
And then did
we
you
buy
say-
underwear. We buy new shoes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We do buy new underwear.
That's
But
pretty much what
everything
we
else
do.
is somebody else's clothes that we're wearing.
Yeah. And
new underwear and socks when school starts.
yeah, that's what we do.
Yeah.
And do you do hand-me-downs for the other kids? Because your house is so small. Did you keep the older kids' clothes for the younger
We
Some.
kids?
did until
If
when
they
they were
were in
younger,
good
especially.
shape,
Yeah,
but-
when they were going through. Now they just wear them out.
Where did you send it? Where did you keep them at?
There's room where the totes are
Under
under
the
the house.
house.
There's room for storage under there.
Boxes
You
and
must have a
boxes.
big storage area. under
And
there.
there's
It's almost full.
and we don't use the garage for cars. So
Okay.
Yes.
Typical Cooper. Yep, I
To
know.
our shame, yes.
Yes.
Judy said that Portland is close to Canada.
Actually, it
That
is
is.
Couple hundred miles.
just
yeah.
across Washington.
Yeah.
So.
So Karen wants to know, how do you keep such a beautiful complexion?
Oh,
Ooh,
I-
God did that. That's
yeah,
she's naturally
that's for
gifted,
sure. Because
yeah.
I remember as a teenager, I thought my complexion was horrible, and a lot of people compliment me on my skin,
They do me
but
too.
I
It must be
don't know
genetic.
No,
I
why.
don't know.
yeah, she does no makeup,
'Cause,
no
yeah,
nothing.
doesn't-
She does absolutely nothing. She'll take a shower once,
I don't think there's anything special about it.
Yeah.
But thanks.
That's funny. All right, dear. How are we related? So Sharon, this is my dad's sister and her husband. So my aunt and uncle, and they were visiting me from out in Oregon, and so they have 12 kids. So I just thought it would be kind of cool to interview them because it's fun.
I don't
Yeah.
remember if you answered this because I know you said that Uncle Brad did landscaping, but we had questions about growing food and raising cows and chickens.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's a good one. We'll finish off with that one. Well, if we have anything else, let me know. But
Is that my
so.
phone or your phone that
I don't-
has that
mine's
tomato?
upstairs.
Do you guys grow all your own garden? Do you have a cow? Do you have goats? Do you have chickens?
We grow.
You have children.
We have-
Oh, we have children.
We have our front yard is tomato plants and blueberries, but it's all in big buckets, big big
Container gardening.
pots.
Yeah.
It's a container garden. They're large containers, and the tomatoes are 8 feet tall, and the
Wow.
blueberries are over my head. And, but it's not a big garden. It's just tomatoes, and it's just some berries, and so
Yeah.
we
And we've
don't
had,
do canning. We
yeah.
it's more of a hobby. It's more just I like to eat tomatoes.
Yeah, I love
I like to
tomatoes.
pick blueberries.
I like cherry tomatoes. Those are
Yeah,
good.
Yeah, we
that's
do. Oh,
the way
yeah.
Do
I
you, have
like
you guys ever
cherry
had the little yellow pear tomato?
Yep. Not this year though. This is
Yeah.
the
Those
first
the
year.
best.
Yeah.
I like the red one.
Oh,
Oh,
I
do
like
ya?
the little red
I
ones,
love the
yeah.
yellow ones.
So
Oh,
we
man.
have, we have 2 chickens, 2 goats. Yeah.
And do you use the goats for milk?
We don't.
No.
Yeah.
They're just
No,
pets.
they came as pets. They've proven to be protectors for the chickens because they're
Chicken
more
protectors,
alert
yes,
to
Really?
They're the-
prey, I guess. Once in a while, we have a red-tailed hawk land in a tree in the backyard, and
I
they're
think you'd like to have chickens.
yeah,
Fine.
yeah.
There are times
The
where
goats are usually
come
aware of the
charge-
chin.
The goats will come charging out of their shed, and they'll jump up on their stand, and they'll look around at the rocks, and they're just it's like,
And then
oh,
the
that's kinda
chickens
awesome.
go, oh,
The
what are the
chickens
goats
scattered.
looking at?
Do they have? Do you guys have a lot of eggs from the chickens? You used to.
We
but-
used to.
Not much
Not so
anymore,
much.
yeah.
Yeah. Now
Yeah.
they're,
They're
more
getting
pets.
older. We
We got
need
2
to
chickens.
start our
Yeah,
flock
we don't.
over again.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
We don't depend on the eggs.
Nice for some good chicken and dumplings.
We do have, yeah.
Yes.
Well, I know you guys already mostly talked about the kids thing, but Jane did ask what do you do when a child is being disrespectful?
Yeah. Well, yeah. That was a question I was going to ask. What do you do when kids are being disrespectful, and how do you deal with kids fighting? Those were the 2 things I was going to ask, and I forgot.
We haven't had fights.
Not
can't remember.
much. I mean, I remember, I don't know. Or I remember what I thought I would do is if they were fighting much, that they could go outside and fight, because it feels like it's always an audience
They want the
that
audience.
makes
Yeah.
them want
Yeah.
to continue it.
Mm-hmm.
Or a tantrum. But then I'd always go, oh, do I really want my kids outside maybe being loud and the neighbors wondering what's going on? So, yeah, I don't know. It hasn't been much of a problem for
Yeah.
us, but
What do
But
you do
those-
when they're disrespectful, or sassing, or that kind of thing?
what do we do?
Well, I had a talk with everybody this summer. We had issues with disrespecting mom, and I had to sat down with the boys, and we had a discussion about how
And the girls.
man to man and
I,
the girl,
you sat down
Yeah.
with the girls too.
Oops. Are we
couple
on?
of girls
Well,
about what I expected
Okay, that's
in
fine.
their treatment of their mother. And, it was an adult conversation with young adults. The way we did, the way we had it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Handle that issue. So
Yeah. Good. Yeah. All right, guys. Well, Thank you.
Oh.
I know you didn't want to do it, and I appreciate it because I had to kind of twist their arm. But you guys have, a lot of people don't think big families are weird or strange, and their kids come out being really weird and strange. But, you guys raised some really good kids who are now raising good kids. And I like the fact that you just don't give the kids everything. And people need more of that now. You really can't just give them everything, and I think it really helps.
It helps if you don't have it to give.
Exactly, it does. That's so true. That's really true because, like with my kids, when I got Jack a bubble gum or something out of the little machine one day, and BJ and I were like, well, we never got one of those. I was like, oh, sorry. I didn't have the money back then.
Yeah.
So. Anyway, all right.
Youngest gets spoiled the
Yes,
most. At least
I
that's
know.
what I heard.
Yeah.
I was the youngest.
That's what,
in my
yes,
family,
you were.
so.
And I think your brothers and sister would say you were the spoiled
Oh,
one.
I'm sure they would.
Sure.
Yeah. Don't believe them.
Yeah. All right, guys. We will see you next time. Thank you for joining us. Thank you, guys. Appreciate
You're
it.
welcome.
Hi, all my cousins, and I'll see you guys next time. Visit us at livingonadime.com.
Bye, kids.